Can Shaun Johnson get it done and get the Dally M medal in 2023? You betcha. Yes, the Warriors are on fire. And with the dream draw virtually for any of the top 8 teams, the Warriors have the chance to fly to the moon and go to number 2 spot. They've got to win these games. If they want to do it, Shaun Johnson will be the Dally M medalist. He's absolutely and he got 6 points last week for sure. No doubt about it. The Warriors are on fire. If they can get their defense and their drop balls consistent, that's the only thing that's stopping them from being a true premiership force this season. If they can do that, Shaun Johnson can lead them to the promised land. Yes, they're minor premiership, yes. Who are the players that could get a few points coming up? Cody Walker. He's probably well down the list, but in terms of who can dominate games, Cody Walker's definitely one of those players for the Rabbitohs who have probably even a better draw than the Warriors. Could go flying up the ladder. Harry Grant was obviously there, and obviously Payne Haas, who was leading the Dally M's going into the thing, probably hasn't got as much points lately, but if he can have a big finish to the season, he's definitely going to be up there with a chance of winning the Dally M. But can the Warriors go all the way? You'll have to find out. Well, obviously Thursday night football is coming up here, and it's the battle of the 2 wooden spooners. Tigers versus the Dragons. Whoever loses is pretty much going to get the wooden spoon. The Dragons might lose this game and somehow still survive. But this is a chance here for the Tigers to really put in a big game. And John Bateman, can't believe how pathetic the team is playing this season. He really... and to be honest, I think the Tiger season was done and dusted before the start of the season with the brutal axing of Jackson Hastings. Yes, he's gone on to play a lot better at the Knights. I suggested that they shouldn't have let him go at the start. He's a very good player. The fact that they let him go for John Bateman was a big mistake, very big mistake. I think you have to look at... I know John Bateman's a great player, don't get me wrong. He's very good. But just what happened there just broke it up. He missed about the first 4 weeks of the football. They absolutely imploded, and it's just gone basket case from there with Benji and Scott Fulton fighting, and everything is just going against the Tigers with Luke Brooks' injury, Adam Dewey, Api Coruscant. I mean, the list goes on. They are absolutely in tatters. Their season's in tatters. But can they get up and get this game on Thursday night? Which I'll talk more about in the preview show coming up tomorrow. But yes, how do we see the Roosters? They have been the absolute chooks of the season. They've absolutely been the worst team of the season. Absolutely, the Roosters have not been up to standard. Very disappointing again this season. They've been the premiership picks for the last 2 seasons from a lot of people, and they just have not delivered. And they've got too many Chiefs and not enough Indians. It's basically the best way to sum up the Roosters. They seem to have too many people they want to say we're the best. Tedesco, Joey Manu, Luke Keary and the likes, but instead they should play around Sam Walker. Yes, they need to play around their star halfback, Sam Walker. The fact that they've been dropping him, it's been atrocious, and probably forgetful signing Brandon Smith. Was he the right buy? He's come here and he's tried to pretty much do a media career already instead of concentrating on the football. Well, that's only my suggestion there. He should just concentrate on the footy. There's a lot of players that are doing this, right? Chad Townsend as well, but is it really helping their footy? Nico Hines as well. And if you look at all these clubs, they're struggling a bit. So whether that's the greatest example of what you should do when you're still playing footy, look at Woodsy and Wade Graham. It's a time to retire. That's the question you've got to ask yourself. Are they more concentrating on the media than the actual football on the day, which they should be? That's just a question you can debate all the time, but Channel 9 seemed to sign, and Fox Sports seems to sign these players before they finish their career. So that's the story for another day. But yeah, Trent Robinson, he needs to have a good look down the mirror and think, what does he have to do with the side? Because you got 2 fullbacks in Tedesco and Joey Manu. How do you get the best out of them? It's the time to let Suolihi go to rugby. I think that's going to happen. Does Joey Manu, should he go to the fullback and you just forget about the other teams and move Tedesco somewhere else? To number 6, he can't kick, so that ain't going to happen. So, yeah, and for me, Keary just hasn't delivered since Cooper Cronk's gone. He was playing like superhuman when Cronk was there. But since he's gone, he's lost it all, can't handle the pressure, which some people just can't when it comes to being the top dog. He didn't have to be the top dog, he had to be in the grand final, he did, when they won. But ever since then, without Cooper Cronk, he has been a dud. Let's just be brutally honest. I'm not saying he's not a bad player, but it's just not enough for the Roosters to win a premiership. So they may have to look at getting rid of him and looking for someone else to deliver there. And they got to just keep Sam Walker there. If I was Trent Robinson, you just keep picking Sam Walker, get someone who can deliver outside him. If Luke Keary's not the answer, you find someone else. That's the way I'm seeing. At least they've signed Dominic Young and Spencer Leno, so they are moving forward with better selections than like a Matt Lodge signing. So that is good for you Roosters fans out there, but they need a lot more. What about Manly? Yes, Manly. What's doing? Is it time to say bye-bye to Turbo? Well, people will say, what are you talking about? Of course, he's a star player when he's on the field, but he's injured too much. And they're not getting enough out of his $1 million contract. It's a time to look elsewhere. Maybe Kula goes to fullback to try and deliver what the Manly need. I really think you need to look at this. You got no. Garrick is not a fullback for me. He's out and out winger. Also, what Manly desperately need, what Manly absolutely desperately need is an enforcer. They need a Spencer Leno. They need a Tino. They need a Jared Hargraves. They need someone really hard, absolutely hard-nosed to get this team. Because, to be honest, this Manly fullback, there is no fear in this team at all. I know they're good players and solid players, but they're not fearful players. And I think that's what Manly need going forward if they want to get back to the top. And Cherry Evans is about to retire at some point, so there is pressure on there. But yeah, this was a big talking point. I thought that Ben Eichen brought a little bit with the James Graham buy round. Here is junior footy. Yes, junior footy. There needs to be a lot more development in junior footy across all the clubs. And NRL may need to just take over the whole thing. I don't know what. They need to do something because it is not working at the moment. We need weight division so the young halfbacks and fullbacks of the game, the hookers, are still in the game instead of walking away, because I can tell you there'll be 1,000 cases of superstar young kids not getting to grade because they're too small. Thurston's been told that. A lot of the players have been told that have made it, but I can tell you there'll be countless more that haven't made it. So just finding some way to, because it's obviously a struggle for halfbacks, as you can see in the NRL. There's probably only 10 at most top quality halfbacks, if that, and might be even less than that. And why do you think people like Cherry Evans and Shaun Johnson are still playing? Because there's no one else around. So they need to really get some training into these kids and really improve the game. They need super good coaching. They need players, not just Cooper Cronk. Cooper Cronk, he's good for those players that don't have the talent. You need players that have the natural talent, like the Cliff Lyons, the Andrew Johns of them, coaching these other kids that have the razzle-dazzle to get the job done. So that's just something I think the NRL need to look at if they want to go forward with this. I think they need to do better on the junior development side to get these young kids playing for longer, even if there's some sort of weight division, even at the under 20 level. I'm not sure. Then they need to do something to really get this going, because it makes life hard for these guys to continue to play in this football when you talk about a lot of players being about 20 kgs bigger at the age of 13, which can happen and makes it a little unfair. They can barely tackle these guys. So that's just something I think the Queensland Rugby League, New South Wales Rugby League, New Zealand Rugby League, and NRL in general, and even international football need to get on track with this. I think this is just something they just have to do if they want to be the best competition out there and get more halfbacks in the game. That's just my opinion. We'll see what happens there. But I just think this is something you need to look at. And one more thing, what about a draft? Should we have a draft for players? People are going to say, oh yeah, what about Penrith and whoever, the teams that have a big junior level, the Tigers as well, they have a big junior base, and these other teams are just going to be able to pick the best out of them. I just think it's got to happen. I really do. I don't know why they don't do it. Do you want to have a truly fair competition? You need to spread the talent around. I do have an idea that maybe you could have say, a junior player already. You can keep a certain amount of juniors. I don't know how you'd worked it out to say who's the best juniors and all that. It's probably a bit hard to develop that. But anyway, there should be a draft of some sort, and I think they should be, to try and even the playing field of the NRL. That's what I think. I think a draft would be absolutely awesome. But anyway, let's get to the footy. Yes, we will talk about the footy tomorrow as we look at who's going to win all the games over the weekend and any other news that comes up over tonight and tomorrow. I'll be back here tomorrow with another video. Have a great day out there, all you rugby league fans.